I've got 3 quick sound bites for you. They're fun, a little nostalgic, and as you'll hear in a moment, they connect directly to today's tech.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
No soup for you.
Hakuna Matata. It means no worries.
Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase.
So, did you recognize those clips? That's your brain doing what's called pattern recognition. It's fun, it's nostalgic, yeah, and it's also the heart of how technology like AI learns. So let's jump in.
Talking about gadgets, games, and gears. AI buzzing in your ears. Parents, teachers, kids unite. We're learning tech and doing it right. Oh, it's a tap, swipe, scroll kind of show where zeros and ones are ready to go. From old school dots to robots that talk, we're jamming with Mr. Fred's Tech Talks.
So let me ask you this. How did you instantly recognize your favorite movie quote or a line from a classic TV show? Well, behind the scenes, your brain spots the pattern, filled in the blanks, and bam, man, you remembered it. It's fun, right? Well, believe it or not, that's pretty close to how something like ChatGPT learns to talk. All right, welcome back, everybody. This is Mr. Fred's Tech Talks, the podcast where I take big tech ideas and I make them simple, fun, and easy enough to share around the dinner table. In the last episode, episode 6, we introduced artificial intelligence and large language models at a really high level. And then today, in this episode, I'm going to peel back the curtain and we're going to see how these models are actually trained. And to make it fun, I'm bringing in a brand new analogy. It's a parrot that never stops practicing. Picture this. You've got a parrot, little bird. You don't hand it a dictionary and say, "Okay, Polly, start quoting Shakespeare." Instead, you repeat the words and phrases over and over and over again. And eventually the parrot mimics or notices the pattern and starts mimicking, right? That's exactly what a large language model does. But instead of hearing a few hundred phrases, it's fed billions of words, billions and billions of words from books and articles and websites, social media. Still, repetition alone isn't enough. So to really understand how the parrot learns, we're going to take a peek under the hood here. Now, I'm going to walk you through the layers, and there's about 9. So how do you go about training your parrot? Here's the step, or an AI parrot, Here's the steps. First, there's data collection. Engineers are going to start collecting up a massive amount of data in form of a library, Wikipedia, textbooks, code, news articles. That becomes the parrot's world of examples. Next, we begin what's known as tokenization. This is where the text is chopped up into little puzzle pieces called tokens. They might be a word, part of a word, or even a couple of letters. Instead of the whole sentence, though, the parrot gets these like Lego blocks, and it can arrange them into new ones. Then we move into what's known as the neural network layer. Inside the model are billions of artificial neurons. Now, these aren't the brain cells like we have, but they work a little like them. Each neuron is like a tiny math function that takes in information, does a really quick calculation, and then passes that result forward. They're stacked in layers, like rows of dominoes. And then one layer feeds the next, until the model comes up with its guess. And that's really what it is, a guess. Each connection between these neurons, though, has what's called a weight. And that's basically a number that says this pathway matters a lot, this one, not so much. So when a token flows through the network, it's like a signal moving across billions of little switches, all working together to decide what the next word should be. We then get to what's known as the forward pass, and that's when the model guesses the next token. So imagine the parrot blurting out, "Once upon a sandwich." Well, we could then use loss function where a math formula checks how far off that guess was. If the right answer was time, not a sandwich, the system calculates the difference. We then begin The next stage of backpropagation, that's where the correction happens. The system tweaks those weights in its neural connections. They're like tiny nudges to improve next time. So it's like telling Polly, our parrot, closer, but not quite. So try again. And then we get into billions of repetitions on those GPUs. This is just simply a cycle of guesses and corrections and adjustments, but it's happening billions of times, and they're powered by those GPUs. The graphic processors originally made for video games, we talked about that last time, but perfect for AI because they're great at crunching math. Fine-tuning is next. So after all those repetitions, all that heavy-duty stuff, humans step in and they ask questions, they rate the answers, and then they guide its behavior. So it's kind of like teaching the parrot some manners, like say hello politely, or no, do not scream movie quotes out loud at the dinner table, or something like that. The last of these processes is safety and alignment. Here, companies add filters. Now, when I say companies, I mean the companies creating the large language models. They add these filters and rules to keep the parrot from repeating harmful or inappropriate things. Think of it like teaching boundaries, what's okay to say and what's not and when, even to some degree. Here's the important part, though. Even after all the training, the parrot doesn't truly understand. It's not thinking. It's not thinking at all. It's doing math, specifically something called probability math. Here's what that means in plain English, though. The model looks at the words you just gave it and asks, what's the most likely word to come next? So if I say knock knock, it calculates the most likely word to come next is whose. Not because it gets the joke, though, but because out of billions of patterns it has seen, that combination shows up the most often. It's kind of like rolling loaded dice. The number 6 isn't guaranteed, but it's way more likely to come up than the others. So LLMs, large language models, are always rolling those probability dice to decide what word to serve you next. So why should you care about all these steps? I think that's a great question. Because every part of the process, from the data collected to the fine-tuning to the safety filters, all of that shapes what the AI says back to you. If you train it well, it's an incredibly powerful tool. But if you train it poorly, and you've got a very loud parrot giving you bad advice. All right, let's get on to the tip of the week. Here it is. So next time you use ChatGPT or another AI tool, AI chatbot, don't just ask it for answers. Try doing this. Ask it to explain how it got there to your answer. That quick check can help you see when it's being genuinely useful or versus when it's just stringing a bunch of stuff together in a very confident guess. And that's our dive into how large language models are trained. The parrot that never stops practicing. But remember, a parrot only repeats what it's taught. All right, so in episode 8, we're going to look at what happens when that training data is incomplete, or it's messy, or even biased. Think of it like teaching a student with a textbook missing half of its chapters. And I've had a couple of those in the past. You'll want to hear how this plays out. If you enjoyed today's episode, hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who loves a simple take on some complex tech. That's what I'm really trying to do here. And if you want to go even deeper, check out getmecoding.com for a companion guide and resource to this particular episode and some of the AI, and some of the other episodes in the AI series. But until next time, keep exploring, keep coding, and remember, even the smartest parrot still needs a good teacher. See you in episode 8. See ya.
Mind the boat. Mind the boat. Mind the boat. Mind the boat.
Mind the boat.
Mind the boat.